Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to show you how to change the battery in the iPhone SE. So first of all, you want to make sure that your phone is powered off. I wanted to go over some of the tools we're going to be using today. This is a pentalobe or Torx screwdriver, size 0. And we're going to need that for removing the screws in the bottom of the phone. This is a Phillips screwdriver size 000 that we're going to need for removing the internal screws. This is a suction cup tool that we're going to be using to opening up the phone. I'll show you how that works in just a bit. If you don't have one of these suction cup tools like this, you can also use a small little suction cup like this. I'll include a link in the video description for any tools that I'm going to be using today during this process, or any parts that I'm going to be replacing. Anything that I think might be helpful to you, I'll include links in the video description, so check them out there. So first of all, what we're going to do is use our pentalobe or Torx screwdriver, and we're going to remove these two screws in the bottom of the phone right here by the charging port. So go ahead and remove those screws. So next what we want to do, if you're going to use a suction cup tool like this, what you would want to do is you want to get it just above the home button like this. You don't want to go over top of the home button because it doesn't suction very well. You want to go just over top and you want to press this down so it gets a seal like this, and then you can simply pry on the handle here and the screen starts separating here, as you can see. So if you don't have one of those tools and you have a suction cup tool like this, I would recommend using a suction tool. It's a lot easier. You can just press down, same thing, get a nice seal on there. Then you can start pulling up on this and you can see it's starting to separate here a little bit. So what I would recommend is having something like a plastic pry tool or something. And very carefully, right here above the headphone jack, there's a notch where you can get right in there, and just carefully, at the same time while you're pulling up on the suction tool, you can just carefully work your way across here. And see how that's starting to separate there? And see the notch I'm talking about right here? There's a notch there where you can get a start on it. Then you don't want to pull very far at all because there's a little cable in here for the Touch ID that we need to disconnect first. Remove your suction tool at this point. So now see that little cable in here I'm talking about? You don't want to stretch it too tight or you'll tear it and you'll lose the function for the Touch ID, so we don't want to do that. It's a little hard to show it, but this is the clip right here that we need to remove. So I'm just going to sneak in here with like a tweezers or something and just pop that out of there. It's just a little clip like this. You can pop it out of there. Then also, I would use something plastic, nothing metal for this part. You want to go in and you want to disconnect that connector right there. And then it pops loose like that. Then once that's loose, we can go ahead and pry this up all the way. Now don't go past the 90 degrees at this point. Then what we want to do is use our Phillips screwdriver, size 000, and we're going to remove these 4 screws in this shield right here. Also, make sure you keep these screws in the right order when you take them out so you know how they go back together. So then grab this shield, set it off to the side with your screws. Then don't use anything metallic for this. I would recommend using something plastic or your fingernails or something. Let's go ahead and start removing these connectors, starting with the one that's on top, which is this one. Then next the one right underneath that, and next the back one there. There's 3 different connectors that we need to remove. These 3. Then the whole LCD screen comes out just like that. So next what we're going to do is use a Phillips screwdriver size 000, and we're going to need to remove these 2 screws in this cover right here. You want to make sure when you take these screws out to make sure to keep them in the right order. And we're going to carefully pry up on this plate right here. We're going to set it off to the side with our screws. Next, let's remove the battery connector right here, using a plastic pry tool or your fingernail or something non-metallic. Then what we're going to want to do on the bottom of the battery here, there's a flap here. We want to try to peel this out of here. Carefully pull it out of there. And if we put a little tension on here, you can see this is split in the middle right here. What we need to do is cut this and split this right in the middle. Next what we want to do is use like a hair dryer or a heat gun or something. I'm going to use a hair dryer. And what we want to do is we want to apply a little heat on the back side of the phone right here. So now there's a couple things to watch. There's the cable that runs under the top of the battery right here from the volume button. We don't want to get anywhere as close to this. But what we're going to do is we're going to heat on the back side right here, kind of in this corner. You don't want to heat it too hot, but just try a little bit at a time, 5 or 10 seconds. Just try to get it nice and hot to the touch. What I'm going to do is we're going to need something to pry with on this side a little bit to help loosen this a little bit. And we can't pry anything at all on this side on the logic board at all. Stay away from the logic board. And like I said, stay away from the volume buttons up. So anything from here you can pry. Now what I have is a tweezers right here, and I'm going to just use the top of it and just carefully pry under this a little bit just to help loosen this a little. And then I would recommend applying heat a couple times. Make sure to not apply heat here where the logic board is, but only in this corner right here from the volume buttons down. Now if you don't have anything to apply heat, this does make this a lot harder, but you can try to do it without heat. But I'll include a link in the video description where you can find a heat gun if you need one for this. And then what we need to do is we need to get this first one here started. And what we want to do, we want to watch this headphone jack so we don't rub against that too much. What we want to do is pull this out and get around the corner here. So then I would recommend to keep prying on this part now. This is a lot looser, as you can see. Pry up a little bit more, give it another round of heat. That one tore right away too. What we're going to need to do is just try to keep working this loose. So now what we need to do, since that tore underneath there, we can't pull it out, we just need to keep giving it some heat and then prying with it. And then eventually it'll come out like this. As you can see what happened here. So now this adhesive just wants to pull out. So we can just go ahead and pull the rest of this right out of here. So now we have two options for adhesive to put this battery back in. This is adhesive that's made just like the one that we just pulled out that we can put in here. I wanted to show you. What you would do is just fold this up, get it down in here like that again, and then set your battery down on top of it. And I'll include links in the video description where you can find this adhesive for your battery. Or we have this option as well. It's just a double-sided adhesive tape. It's like a 2mm double-sided adhesive tape, and we can just put strips in here. And I'll actually be doing that in this video to show you how you can do it this way. So now what I did is use this double-sided adhesive tape, and one side is sticky. You just stick it down like this. Then we have to go ahead and peel all this white stuff off of here. Now make sure you don't put any on top of this flex cable that runs right here. As you can see, I stopped just short of that. We don't want to put any on there. So just cover the general area there with it. Now that we've peeled the film off of our tape right here, or we've used this adhesive right here and peeled the film off of that, whichever one we chose, let's go ahead and set the battery right down in here. Now you kind of only get one chance at this, so you want to just kind of center it in the hole right here, give it a little room all the way around, then press down, make sure that the battery is stuck down good on the adhesive. Let's go ahead and reconnect the battery right there. Make sure that the cable is laying down nicely in the side there. Then we want to grab the cover for the battery connector right here, set it down on there, and then go ahead and put your two screws back in. Next we want to grab our screen and we want to set it down on here. Let's start by reconnecting this first connector right here. You can kind of hear it and feel it snap in. And we want to do them in order, the way that they're stacked. So let's go ahead and reconnect this connector right there. And then we want to reconnect this one right over here. Now while holding the screen at a 90 degrees still, don't pull it too far back so you don't strain the connectors too much. Then we want to grab our shield and set it down in here. So while still holding the screen with one hand, we need to get these screws in here to put this shield back on. So next now we've got all our screws in the plate right here. What we need to do is carefully set this screen down all the way. What we're going to attempt to do is reach in here and grab this connector right here. Don't pull too hard. We're going to kind of set this off to the side like this, and we're going to carefully try to reconnect this. There's just enough slack in this cable that we can reconnect this right here. Then also what we need to do is just put this retainer clip on here to hold this connector down in place. The two holes go this way and the one piece goes this way. The little tongue goes down. And you can just push that down and that snaps right in there. Next what we want to do, we don't want to pull this up too far so that this cable pulls off again. But what we want to do is try to get this top in first like this, while it's still held at an angle like this. And then what we can do is just carefully set this down. As long as the top stays in tight like that, we can just set this down and start pressing down all the way down. As you can see, that's in all the way there. Then we want to put our screws back in the bottom here. You can do this with your fingers if you want. I'm just using a tweezer so it's easy to see and so it's easy to grab. Then we want to take our pentalobe screwdriver, put these screws back in. Then we want to power on our device, and as soon as it comes up we know everything's working and you're all set. Thanks for watching.